Assessment is a tricky area. It's something that we need. It helps an educator in knowing where she needs to go, where she needs to come along the students and help them to achieve the goal that has been set there by standards or by what parents are hoping or even what the student aspires to do. But it can be a double edged sword. To be honest with ourselves, it would be much easier to educate students if they were all the same cookie cutter size. Everyone was the same. And Sir Ken Robinson attributed to like an assembly line mentality that if we follow this formula, we teach this curriculum, all students will achieve this bar and hooray, success. But it doesn't work that way. Just as we talked about with differentiation, each student is different. They are gifted in different ways, and not all tests account for all of that. Not unless we spent days testing these students, and goodness, who wants to do that? Not me. I don't want to go play. So with assessment, it's important for the educator to get into the right mindset of how she is going to understand those students and how she's going to mark that progress. And assessment and being able to gather that evidence and present it as learning has become one of the focuses of education. Unfortunately, it really should be on making learners and creating lifelong learners, but it would be easier in a way if we didn't have the grades. But I digress. So in this section on assessment, I just really took into account what Dave Burgess had to say about making sure you display that passion and that encouragement to students and meeting them where they're at, and even not being afraid to do assessments in a different way. I really appreciate the idea of creating portfolios with students. Yes, it's a long, patient way of gathering information, but the tool that it could be, you start out with a student from the beginning, and then as time progresses and they learn more and they get more skilled in what they're doing, you can actually take this to the student and say, look at how far you've come. Look at the progress that you made. You have much to be proud about. And even something that you can go and share with parents. I'm finding that as a parent, I worry a lot. I know it's not fair, but I do end up comparing my child to other kids their age. And I just come to realize that she's different. I can't compare one child to the next. And we need to be flexible in that area. The artifact that I presented to support or demonstrate in the area of instruction and assessment was one of my very favorite projects. I had the privilege of working with a K-4 class. That means 4-year-olds in kindergarten up through first grade. And that's covering about three different grades right there. And you talk about the age from 4 to 6 years old. Those numbers don't sound like a lot, but there are huge differences in the development of those children. And to be able to take a project like this to those students, it was eye-opening, it was challenging, it was fun, and we had some great products to share with the students and with the parents. I took a lesson that I created, a reading lesson, and had the students read from an assortment of words that were on a sight words list. And each student had a different set of words that they were reading from. And whenever a student would miss a word, I would mark that on their We're Gonna Learn list. Every student's list was different. There was no competition that could possibly happen because the kids were working on different lists. And even the students were like, there was no opportunity for them to say, I only missed this much compared to your many that you missed. They kept rating until they all missed 5. So everybody missed 5 words. Everybody had a different set of lists, and they worked on the words that they needed to learn. Then they took those words, they practiced them over a couple of weeks. I graphed their progress on an actual graph that I showed them. And then I picked 3 students to work in groups, and we made videos out of stories that they created using the words that they needed to work on. And the reason why I chose this project for an assessment is because I gauged the progress on the student themselves. They created a story, they collaborated with students, and that was fantastic. When they had that end product, that was what I was looking for. But the actual progress of the student was about their ability to read, their ability to present, and each one was different. And I think that that's the important part of it, not to just say, here's the bar, that's where you need to be at. That has its importance, but if a student's here, you have to say, well, you're not here, you fail. You say, I'm going to meet you here, and I'm going to help you get up to where we need to be. That's the kind of teacher I want to be. I want to be the kind that is approachable, that students know that will help them, and someone who can be trusted.